think what we're really hoping to achieve here and gain is to make sure the students have an interest in STEM and able to maintain that interest in STEM, so much so that they want to even have a career in STEM. And so my hope and my goal is that we're able to expose them to all the different opportunities that you can do with STEM, and not just your typical, doctor or engineer.
This year, the scholars are investigating the characteristics of water, its sustainability, and its impact on the Black community. By utilizing a project-based learning approach, the hope is to ignite within these students the desire to pursue a career in STEM.
Well, it may not look like it, but this is 135 acres of what we call an urban forest, and this is specifically an old growth forest, and that means that this forest has not had a lot of disruption. It's like fires or things like that. We haven't had that happen in this forest. So it's one of the only old growth forests that is still within the city limits in the city of Atlanta.
It's mostly just humans being connected with nature, trying to find out and also live with nature without harming it.
I think it was a great experience how we got to collect water from the river and then test it to test the iron, copper, and nitrogen.
That stuff turns into ash and soot, right? It's in the ground, seeps down, it's going to get into the water table, it's coming right back into this water.
Like when you were a young child, did you want to do this? Like when did it all start?
Nope, had no idea. It's really important, especially for Black and brown kids, to see people that look like them creating innovations, because the narratives that we get told around what it means to be brilliant, what it means to be a genius, what it means to have an impact on the world, to change the world, those narratives often don't include us, but the history shows a different story.
So there's people in many places like Flint, Michigan, they have to test water. It's not how like a little fun experiment like we've done it. They have to do this every day, and they have to bathe with the water. Like they have to use bottled water and pour on their toothbrush. Because like having the ability to go in your bathroom, turn the water on, it's just, so now we can kind of feel empathy for them and how they have, like what they have to go through every day.
I'm able to teach these young men what it is to be a scientist and what it looks like, what science looks like in the classroom, and how these experiences apply to their own lives.
This kind of exposure, being around like-minded kids and being around, the students and the volunteers that are helping make this program work, it's so invaluable.
It's amazing to come into a setting where students are encouraged to tap into their own talents, tap into their own interests. There is pacing, they're learning about the design of instruction, metacognition, and I think we should continue to expand this into urban areas across Atlanta.
I'm a big advocate of our kids at least being exposed to HBCUs as a point of reference for college. Because our institutions certainly build us strong.
Let's not forget the food. That was also a draw. Being able to eat in the college cafeteria, having the choices and being able to pick whatever food you wanted and the unlimited sodas. So, that was also a benefit.
For science, you have to have hands-on, especially for adults and children to see. Because a lot of time in science, if you can't touch and feel and see, it's hard for the concept to take place.
There's so many different careers that they can do, and the different exposure that they've had is just kind of show them that, hey, learning about this stuff can lead to this. So showing them what they could do, what they could be someday with this knowledge that they're obtaining.
Right now, what we're dealing with is going to be worse in the future. It's really going to be worse for bacteria, viruses, protozoans, everything. So that's why I say that's why we need you to stay on top of these things and to help us, to develop the vaccines, to develop antibiotics. It's
just a matter of showing students like, hey, all this that you do deals with science. And so, and once they get that buy-in, once they realize that, then it's kind of easier to teach them and have them fall in love with science the same way that I did.
It just opens up that part of your brain that says, this is actually possible for you. And if you can keep that open long enough in a kid's mind, they'll be the next one doing something bigger than what I've done. And somebody needs to give them permission and say, you can do this too. You can change the world too. Your idea, your vision matters.
Do you smell that water? Do you smell it? Yeah. Hey, smell the water. If you smell the air right now, you can smell like a little spout-like smell, right? A lot of times, standing water, swampy type water and settings create that type of smell. Whereas the fresh
I most enjoyed climbing the waterfall and testing the water.
I mean, feels like freedom. I think we should do more field trips like this so we can go out and do some field research and field activities.
Mostly being in nature just makes me feel at home at the same time, but I also like it here. So